vlog time. So I recorded this and I listened back and I am very quiet. So it's a nice sunny day. Let's talk about crafting. So first of all, the big one that will eventually be done, but that day is not today. So last we talked about this, I'd done 5 out of 9 of these big blocks, and I think I had bits to make some of the others. I have made up 2 more, and right now I'm just plugging along trying to get all the pieces made. So I needed more squares. I think I've finished all my squares now. I was about 2/3 of the way through and I've done the last third ridiculously quickly because it's not as hard as I remember it being. so that I've got to still make some more of these triangles. So this is the completed stuff. And this significantly smaller thing has all the rest of it. So we have a stack of squares, a second stack of squares, and we have, sorry, I don't want to count this on live thing. Okay, counting done. I have 6 of these that need to be made into blocks. So I have 4 of the pinky purple ones and 3 of the blue ones, which means I need 2 more of this and 3 more of these ones. So it's getting close. It's getting close now. I've also made up some more blocks that I had the blocks for. I should really start doing that with that pile soon. So I'm currently doing one of the last 2 octagons. I think I'm most of the way there now. And then I'll just be making up all of those into blocks and then making these and these into these. So, we're getting there. This is the problem when I don't script stuff and have to think what I'm meant to be saying next. Oh, I know what I wanted to. Right, so I don't have all the blocks to set this out properly, but this is a little preview of just how big this blanket is going to be and how the colours work. And it's quite dark today, so apologies for that. So we have the light blue running along. We have the pinks and purples going down for the sake of argument right now. So that is pretty accurate. Unfortunately, this is the darkest one, so this would normally be off the end of the sofa somewhere, and this would be next to it, so very rough idea of how big this is going to be. It's going to be so cozy. So staying on crochet stuff, people who've been playing this with me know that I've been making little Among Us people. It started out as just a simple, there are these 2 basic body shapes you can do, because you can do whole people or the murdered version, and as you can see it quickly devolved into me making proper replicas of people's characters. Gareth originally wanted to be dead, and then he said he'd also like to have a normal one, so they just mashed the two patterns together, so now he can be both depending on his mood. I also changed a few little bits, like the backpack was originally meant to be done, kind of knit it in one whole thing and then stuff it and sew up the top and then sew that backpack onto the figure. But when I did Brian's, I did a little knife and I wanted him to have something to store it in, so I left it open. And he said I should just leave it like that on everyone's, so that's what I've done because it's cool. You know what can happen if you have backpacks? You can put things in them. I know, right? Lollipop. It's not quite the right size, but it's close. It's close. And then, as you can see, because everyone has their funky headgear, I tried as much as I could to replicate it. Little plant sprouting from Joe's head. Little flower. I've sent the ones that belong to my husband's co-workers, that's the word. I've sent the ones for Brian's co-workers with him to work. So I can't show you those because they're not in my possession now. But these are going to get posted when I leave the house. I will do that eventually. No, I leave the house. I know what you're talking about. So other funky headgear I had to improvise included things like a fried egg. I thought, well, I've already improvised a whole plant pot. I think I can cope with an egg. Yeah, I think I can do that. And naturally I haven't done my own one because I don't know, reasons. But maybe eventually. Right, so that's the crochet stuff. I've got a couple of things that are kind of presents for people, so I'm not going to flash them up on here too much because it ruins the surprise. But, so, maybe little Among Us people can go over there. Oh, dead. No, he's dead. He's dead. He'll get better. Other long-running projects in knitting, we have my shawl, which honestly it doesn't look that different. I have done some work on it, but this is what preparation is key. There is this much of a shawl now. I think there's probably only this much of a shawl last time. I don't know, but that's going. We're still doing the same basic repeat here. Very leafy. Get there eventually. Knitting. I also have most of a jumper. Most of a jumper. Ooh. Ignore the sweet wrappers. I definitely don't just eat sweets all the time. Anyway, jumper is mostly done. I have a whole sleeve. I have most of another sleeve. All I have to do is unpick this hem and make it longer because I want it to be longer. Jumper! Yes, I need to... This is pretty good, but it's not quite long enough for me. So, come down to about there. I would really like it to be a little bit longer. So this is the jumper I'm making from my grandma's unfinished jumper. So this is very nice and simple. It's just... So it's knitters. This bit is garter stitch, which means that it's alternating rows of knit stitch and purl stitch. So you get this nice wibbly thing. the body, and this is not the neatest because this is just directly unpicked from a jumper. The neat bit of knitting that actually comes from a ball, this is stocking stitch, which is just it's the same stitch all the way around. So these little V's are knit stitches. These bumps are purl stitches. So if you're knitting backwards and forwards, they're just the reverse of each other. So it'll look like a V from this side and scarves from this side. So pretty simple. It's just keep going and going and going. It's all in one go, so I don't have to sew anything together because making up jumpers is one of my least favourite bits of knitting. So it's beautiful, it is cosy, it's mushy. It's good. Good jumper. I possibly have more things. No. Thinking. Sewing, because I haven't done that for a while. My sewing has really been confined to making masks. Brian has very, very politely requested that he could have more masks than just the one handmade one I'd made him, so well, I can't quite reach it. I made him a mask and it was a prototype because he's, I don't know, it might be something to do with having a slightly weird shaped face or a slightly different proportioned face, or just what he finds comfortable, but I had to mess around a bit. So I made a prototype mask and he's been wearing it, and it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So I've just copied it and made new masks with fabric that isn't just scrap fabric. So this one has pterodactyls on, because if I'm going to sew things that aren't fun, I'm going to make them fun. Pterodactyls on the outside, it's just scrap fabric on the inside. I love that apparently just having roses on the inside of his mask is not a threat to his masculinity. It's just really nice. I can just go, look, no one's going to see that. No fucks forgiven. So nice. So that's one of them. I think he's got the other one right now, but it's just like crossed bones. I quite like it. So, sewing. I have plans for sewing, but I haven't got them done yet. And slightly weird one. I made a basket. This basket is it's t-shirt yarn. So basically it comes in a massive bale like that. It's just most of the stuff I find is kind of textile waste, so it's recycled, either directly recycled, or these are the offcuts from long rolls of jersey fabric. But you can crochet them up, or knit them up I guess, into just like really nice sturdy stuff. So I have made this basket to house my hand knitted stuff, because I don't want to felt any of my knitted stuff, and I don't want to have to spend too long sorting, washing before it goes in the machine. So in the interest of being tidy, I've just created a place for those things to go until I'm ready to wash them. Actually, there's a bit of a recycling theme going on in here, because my jumper is recycled yarn from a jumper that my grandma didn't finish. This is specifically recycled yarn from textile waste. All these are just my scraps that I had lying around. This, I mean, the outside isn't waste, but that's my scrap fabric. So, doing pretty well on that, really. I think that's about it, except for the pile of shame, which I think I've already done. I will check. Anyway, look after yourselves. Don't put too much pressure on yourselves over craft projects. Craft projects. Craft projects. Craft, craft, crafty, craft. Okay, right, I'm coming. Nerd.